think they need to understand that AI is not a magic tool. And technical people, they think that, oh, it's a magic tool and everyone is starting to build their own businesses around it. It's not that. It's not the case.
Okay, hello, welcome, Bong. Very, very nice to have you here. Um,
Thanks.
so Bong is
So,
someone who I have worked with and have known him for maybe a year now. We both have passion and mentorship, helping those beginners or everyone who want to aspire to be web dev or data engineers. Bong is very inspirational to me. So yeah, Bong, if you could maybe introduce yourself, like tell about things that you're doing currently, things that you're passionate about, you're working with, and yeah, go on.
thanks. Okay, first and foremost, thanks for inviting me to this, I guess, a pioneering episode of your podcast. But yeah, let me introduce myself first. I came from Maykawayan, or born and bred in Maykawayan, Bulacan, and grew up there and went to USC during uni. I graduated with the BS Math major in computer science back in 1996. That's pre-internet, I guess, or bulletin board system days. And yeah, I worked there for 2 years in Citibank. Then I went to Saudi Arabia for 9 years in Riyadh Bank, purely doing mainframe coding. I think you can see my COBOL book there. It's still a relic. So anyway, yeah, that's
Master.
pretty much 95 role. That was during, especially during the Y2K era. And as you know, the Y2K bug is primarily impacted mainframe systems. So anyway, fast forward to 2007, I met my wife there. My son was born there, Lawrence. My wife Rowena and I and Lawrence migrated to Australia in 2007. And since then, I'm still working with the same software company, which was originally called Mastersoft,
Uh-huh.
doing data quality software, particularly around customer information, data models. Then it was acquired in 2018 by a UK-based software company called GBG, and I'm still working with them. So 2 more years, and I'm turning 20 years in the
Oh my
company.
goodness.
So 2 decades with them. So anyway, that's pretty much my backstory. I think this particular podcast is mainly or primarily more on I guess the future of our relationship, particularly with your initiatives, Faith. This is in relation to Code Sydney. So I started Code Sydney back in 2016 when I learned Python programming language. At that time, I said, "Oh, this is quite." Yeah, I fell in love with it. It's sort of like similar to COBOL,
Uh-huh.
very English-like, because that's pretty much the differentiator of the COBOL programming language. It's like English-like, anyone can understand it, particularly business people. So when I jump in and look at Python programming language in 2016, I was surprised with how easy it is to absorb it, as an old school programmer. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the start of Code Sydney. I started the group. I built a meetup.com group. Until now, it's still there, and I think it reached over 3,000 members. But as you know, meetup group, you only have 2% active members, even less than 5%. They're sort of like just followers. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, yeah, we're still continuing, to progress. I think last year we started commercializing or entering to the commercial space, because since 2016 until 2024, we're really more on the nonprofit charity organization space. But it's still our core. Don't get me wrong, it's still our core. It's still our anchor. But because I think if you look at the website of Code Sydney, our
Mm-hmm.
motto or slogan, it shows there "Doc Servit." It's a Latin word for, or words for, serve. A leader serves. So because
Nice.
as a founder, I always believe in that, in servant leadership. We always eat last,
Nice.
pretty much, and that's same as what Simon Sinek is always saying, right? Leaders eat last, and I think I follow that principle as much as I can. That's right. So yeah, uh, I guess last year or late last year, right, when I approached Faith through her agency. Faith, thanks for that. And I was surprised, actually. Honestly speaking, I keep on saying this. I keep on saying this that I was surprised on how responsive, competent, and very professional your team is actually from your side. Fortunate or Faith or Shiver, or maybe another name in the future. But regardless of the name, as long as you're the one in charge, I'm very much confident that it will work
Mm.
based on my that's based on my personal experience. So going back to your question, after a lengthy introduction, now I will answer your question. In summary or in a nutshell, my life or my focus is actually, of course, my family. And with regards to work or the corporate side, I have GBG, my 9 to 5, and Code Sydney, my 5 to 9, and weekends. Then I have the Justice of the Peace of New South Wales. Some Saturdays I have to something like sort of like a voluntary role to sign documents like a notary public, sort of. And I have the Data Engineering Pilipinas. I try to help our friends at Data Engineering Pilipinas through Sir Mike Ogbinar. And I'm glad that he allowed me to, to somehow meddle with the group. But anyway, I think I decided to do that because I got my dual citizenship or reacquired my Filipino citizenship last February of 2024. It's the reason why I I want to start, cutting myself into half. I mean, half of it,
Mm.
slowly transitioning to somewhat like have a double role between the Philippines
Yeah.
and the even though I keep on saying that my home base will still be Sydney.
Yeah.
But, long term, that long term maybe it's just 10 to 15 years from now because I'm turning 50 this year.
Mm.
So, 10 more years maybe, 15 years, and I'll be working full time in Code Sydney. That's
Wow, that's
it.
amazing. Yeah,
That's what I thought.
two things that I really, really admire from you, Bong, is like two things is first, you're very, very consistent. I mean, the way we run things, you just like, whatever happens, you stay on course. And that's something that I really admire. Like you would always tell me, just don't give up, like you've been doing Code Sydney for many, many years, and you would say like there are many inactive followers, but you still keep on doing that. It's something that I really, really want to learn, and I really admire you from that. And the second thing is like your love for the Filipinos. That's really like commendable, and I know how much you have taught a lot of these Filipinos, both in Sydney, both in Australia and also in the Philippines, and I hope you keep doing that. That's amazing.
Same as you, right? With Project Neo, I believe. Yung
Yeah,
Kuya Devas.
yeah.
So yeah,
And
I'm glad
yeah,
is, like yourself, Kuya Dev, Sir Michael Binar, and others.
yeah.
I was actually intending last year when I became a dual citizen. I thought, oh, let me try and build a code.sydney in Manila. But when I was interviewed by Doc Ligot, I was surprised that there's a lot of them already, and I'm
Mm,
happy that vibrant. I mean, there's a vibrant community of leaders there. I
mm,
don't really need to be there. They're already doing it. Maybe
yeah.
it's one sort of just, in a way to help or to assist them.
Yeah, and you're
Whenever I
doing
can.
a lot already in DEP, right? With all those Python courses. I see that a lot, and I was like, oh my goodness, a lot of people are really learning through this. And yeah, I think that's really, really helpful for those people who want to get into the industry.
It's a
Um,
taste
yeah.
of
Um,
commitment.
in the line of like being consistent, what do you think is like constant in the several years with you in the tech industry? Like in terms of like maybe like techniques or like skills or something like in the industry, what is that constant thing? You've been in the industry for like 20 plus years, right? Or almost
Almost
20
like
years. Yeah. Yeah,
three
so
decades.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess learning is the first thing that comes to mind is learning,
I love
right?
that. I love that.
Yeah, you have no choice but to learn, to catch up, to be adaptable.
But you
right?
do know that other people just, even though they know that, they tend to be lazy and then just like, I'm just until here. I really admired you from COBOL and then Python. And how old were you when you started the Python learning?
That was just 6 years ago, so maybe 45-ish.
So you were
45.
45. You started learning when you were 45.
The Python language,
Yeah,
you know.
that
It's,
is that
yeah,
is amazing. That is really,
uh,
really amazing. And us
that's
like in 30s or 20s, it's like, we tend to like, oh, let's just chat GPT it or like, take the
yes,
shortcuts.
and I think it's inherent to human nature, right? Well, as soon as you become comfortable with one thing, you tend not to, you know, bite the bullet and go out there again.
That tendency to kind of like take the shortcut was with AI. So when things were like, starting to like grow in AI and then like, do I really want to learn it? It's like maybe just like a hype or stuff like that. So it took some bit of a time to like really dig down and like sit down and kind of like go through a course and then finally like finish some courses. It took some time. It was There was even like a whole like residency program that I paid like a lot
So
of dollars and I didn't even do it because like I couldn't find the time.
you can find that that's the thing. That's one of the challenges, right?
Yeah.
I also, I mean, in addition to that, I remember Professor Charles Severance or Dr. Chuck. He's actually, I admire that professor from University of Michigan. Dr. Chuck said, because he tried AI with his students for one sem or two semesters, and he said it's a superpower for the wise, but it is harmful for the weak. That's
Oh
what he
yeah.
said.
Oh yeah.
And he said that because of that, he decided to go back old school. You know, he somehow revised his curriculum again to go back to the old way of teaching.
Another very thought leader, Linus Torvald, the founder of Linux, even said AI is just 90% marketing, 10%, just what it actually is. So I think we're still in that stage where AI is not actually what it is right now. Is everyone is just hyped up, but it's still exciting. Things are very
It's
exciting.
actually, in a way, it's already happening. I guess if you ask any developer, right? I'm sure you know any developer. Majority of them, even minor refactoring. Sometimes they actually, I remember interviewing a couple of professional developers. They said 70, 60, 70%. Sometimes they just let AI handle the auto suggestion.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense in a way.
Yeah.
That's why I believe it's really more of like really a pilot co-pilot relationship.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, yeah, or autopilot and pilot relationship, right? You have an autopilot airplane, but you still need the pilot to somehow, administer and govern how
Hmm.
it works
I
automatically.
Yeah.
So it's sort of that. I guess if there's one analogy, it should be like that. And yeah, I think we cannot deny the fact that it's already improving productivity.
Yeah.
From executive level up to the developer level, everyone is already using it,
Yeah, and I
right?
think that's why AI education is really, really important because if you have to use it wisely, just like you said, right? It's not
That's
something
correct.
that you just, feed it and then just, vibe code everything because eventually you will have to deal with scalability and all these, complications.
I
Um,
honestly tried it or actually experienced it myself because what happened is I said, oh, this is a good experience. What Because I noticed there's like a new framework again, which is pure Python web dev. It's called Fast HTML. A Fast HTML is sort of like pure Python
mhm.
uh, web development.
I don't know about this. Okay.
HTML. So I said, oh, let me try this. Use with AI on my side. Maybe the I guess one of the constraint there or caveat is that since it's new, there's not that many feed as yet to the large language models, right?
Yeah.
In terms of so even if I ask them, maybe there's not that much responses that you can get. But anyway, I started developing some prototypes. It's working. But eventually, majority I'm asking ChatGPT, and at some point I said, "It's very complicated code now." So sort of like a unmaintainable code.
Oh no.
Because the thing there is somewhat like I managed to, in a way, mimic a total beginner, right?
Mm,
A complete beginner to the platform. Then I just ask everything to Chat GPT, and then just place it. It works, but at some point when I hit a roadblock and I tried reading the code, I cannot I cannot follow it. So I said, oh, let me just go back to Flask.
I see. I see.
I was initially I thought I will share fast HTML because it's pure Python.
Hmm.
I said I think it's best to just go back to the old school Flask.
Yeah. Um, I wanted to ask about like a specific technical jargon, but is there like a specific technical jargon that you think our listeners like considering our listeners are like more like the going to start in the tech industry, like particular jargon that might help them, or
Um,
like maybe in
uh,
AI or like in
I-
Python.
uh, Potentially vector search, sort of like how AI works in under the hood, or how RAG works under the hood, right? Because maybe they will think, oh, you have a PDF. How come when you feed it into the model, somehow it's able to
Yeah,
answer
yeah,
anything about the PDF? So actually, the vector, that's pretty much vector searching, right? Because you have, I guess, the term in terms of jargon or technical term. Vectors is sort of like numerical values of all the text inside the PDF. It's being converted into numeric values and stored in a database like a Postgres
yeah,
vector,
yeah,
PB vector. And that's when the magic happens, right? So essentially, it's just going to pick up all relevant weights based on those vectors that is or are embedded into that PG vector database. So
yeah,
it's too technical, but I mean, just for the listeners,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, in relation to AI, that's pretty much what comes to mind.
I love that. I love that explanation. It makes it look simple, but like if you look at the vector, it's like, oh my God, all the numbers, all the arrays. It's
That's correct.
just
Yeah,
imagine if we have to manually test every vector. Like that would be crazy. And
that would be
it's
crazy.
just amazing how, how this like technology came to be just out of numbers.
I
Really.
think if ever there's one thing that I want to share from the past,
Mm-hmm.
I just came to me because I always love that concept in the mainframe program. Because in the past, the old PC programming, Commodore 64 with the diskette and all those.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah,
Whenever you're
those.
writing a GW Basic or Turbo Pascal, so it's like if you add two numbers, you write, give me two numbers, right? And then click enter to get the sum. At that point, right, in the background, everything is running actively. Only when I went to the mainframe programming that pseudo-conversational programming came in place. Came to place. It's sort of like as if when the screen or the mainframe screen is asking for numbers or input, it's actually off. The program is off. So in a way, it's similar to asynchronous processing now. I think in the web, something like in on the web browser, like there's nothing running. It's just forms, and it's just waiting the user
Mm-hmm.
to input, right? But nothing's running, just static. But in the past, actually everything is running in the background. It's consuming memory while waiting for the user input.
Mm-hmm.
So that is called pseudo-conversational programming, wherein as if the user thinks that the program is running, but it's just actually static and waiting for the input on the screen. Only when they click enter that it sends back the event to
Mm-hmm.
trigger processing. So
Yes.
nothing's happening during while waiting for the input. So I guess that's another term that sticks with me. It's called pseudo-conversational programming.
Ah, so it took a lot of memory back then, just for
Yes,
you guys to
right.
wait for an input.
Input, yeah, because it's active in the background.
Wow, very
Yeah, at that
interesting.
time, at that time.
So now we're like saving memories now. All right. Another question. Is there anything you wish in the tech industry that you wish more people understood? I think we talked about like two things already, but is there anything else
uh, I guess if there's anything that people wants to
more people
understand.
understood? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's related again to the current trend, right? I think they need to understand that AI is not a magic tool.
yeah.
Sort of like maybe a lot of non-techies or non-technical people, they think that, oh, it's a magic tool and everyone is starting to build their own businesses around it. They thought it's just a matter of, you're an AI expert the next day, right? And you can offer services around it. It's not the case, right? You still need to have that solid grounding, solid background, the
Hmm.
building of computer science theories, concepts, and then before you get into that.
Hmm.
Although there are two ways to see it, but yeah, it's not always a magic tool. It's the same as any other expert systems in the past. That there will always be false positives in these types of systems. So it's really how to manage those false positives. The problem is that maybe a number of people thinks that they just accept it as Bible truth. Whatever it spits out to
Hmm.
you, you
Oh
just
yeah,
accept it as that's
yeah,
dangerous.
yeah, yeah. You have to
And
have a little bit of doubt.
that's correct. Even actually, if you come to think of it, I guess that's where the money is in this I guess era. It's just my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The point is how can you tame it? How can you tame AI? It's easy to implement RAG, right? For example, you can have a conversational RAG in no time. The question is how are you going to make sure that it's somewhat like always
Mm-hmm.
99.99% correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I guess that's where the gap is. And I'm still thinking, even in Code Sydney, how are we going to tackle that? Because I thought of storing some scores based on the initial responses, but it's sort of like I feel it will be a hybrid solution wherein there will always be, in a way, a manual review
Yeah,
as a
yeah,
it may be a manual input or a manual weighting can be added and can be fed back to the model somehow store it as an additional weighting, so, sort of like that. I'm just thinking
yeah.
out loud here.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. All this AI still needs a lot of like human reviews, human input, because they really just tend to hallucinate, right? Um, and yeah, thanks for saying that. I think that's very informational for our audience. Um, yeah, talking again about AI, what hope would you give to those people who are shifting to tech or like just getting into tech? Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are a bit afraid because it's
Hmm.
like, oh, they're gonna take our jobs. Like, what kind of hope can you give to them?
Actually, even those in tech, primarily those in tech, those the first ones who are concerned about this, right? But I see it the other way around, honestly, because come to think of it, it's there's still a lot of problems to solve in this world. I guess even the current magnitude or number of developers or software engineers that we have, we cannot even solve everything.
I love that
Right?
perspective. I love that.
The
Yeah.
thing here is that we are getting some help soon. Yeah, or now we are slowly getting help, and I'm sure that we will work hand in hand with our new BFFs.
Now goes to my question. What kind of problems do you really want to solve in this world?
Uh, this word, actually, maybe that's also the reason why I'm a bit active in data engineering Pilipinas because I'm really keen on maybe this day and age, especially AI, maybe to some degree we can somehow, you know, switch or realign our future, right? The Philippines in particular. So the problem that I want to solve, maybe smaller systems, streamline smaller systems in the Philippines whenever possible. Like I
Mm-hmm.
heard, even a barangay does not have an appointment system or appointment system
Wow.
in a way. So that's actually my next small project in depth. I'll just create a small app that will send a notification to the phone. I think using SendGrid perhaps. Anyway, it's sort of like uh, it's just a mini appointment system. 9 to 5. You open 9 to 5. Your barangay hall opens 9 to 5. Anyone can actually just send a message saying, I have an appointment from 8 to 8:30, 8:30 to 9. Those sort of small things. I guess going back to your question, we'll just try to solve small things and hopefully grows into bigger things.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, that's what
Hopefully,
I think that's what I've learned from you. I mean, since I've known you, right? You really embody the concept of like small ripples give waves, in the end. I
yeah,
I
that
really, really love that. I wish I could live like that too, but sometimes I start with the wave and then you end up going to the ripple. But yeah, I admire that. Thank you. Thank you, Bong. Um, let's now get a bit more personal. Is there a particular non-tech hobby or interest that has influenced your work in tech? Could be sports, TV shows, books. Yeah.
uh, yeah, I think I really like following his history,
Hmm.
Philippine history. I think
Philippine
even when
history.
and yeah, more on Philippine history. I think back in high school, that's my favorite subject. And
Really?
global politics, I follow some, and in a way, it somehow influenced me in tackling people in particular. Not really the technology, but more people in tech.
Mm-hmm.
So some to understand how they think, to understand different perspectives, and then we talk about technology second. It's more of like I actually work on people first, always,
Amazing.
always.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, so you're like a more people person then. You're a people person
Uh,
first before a tech person.
yeah, I guess that's the reason maybe I was actually designated as head of customer support in GBG for maybe 5 years.
I see.
I'm very customer centric, you
Amazing.
know,
And what is your role now?
senior professional services consultant, somewhere on the
So
PS.
people person again.
I still need to go out there with the salespeople. So if the customer or the potential client has got some questions around the technicality side or technical side, then I'm the one who needs to answer those. A sort of
Nice.
I'm like a henchman of sales,
Yeah, like what they call like the sales engineer, right?
sales engineer, technical account manager, and
Yeah.
different professional services and
Yeah.
deliveries.
No wonder you're so good at talking to those non-profit organizations. Like,
Maybe reason why. Maybe that's the reason.
yeah, yeah. Right. Okay, this is a hypothetical question. If you could have dinner with any tech leader, who would it be and what would you ask them?
I guess it's based on what I just said earlier about being customer centric. Based on what I have seen so far, it's Jeff Bezos who's the most
Really?
customer centric of them all.
Mm-hmm.
That's based on what I read and I saw. But I hope he's really that guy because I really admire those people who are customer centric.
Hmm.
I even remember one interview, maybe you can search for it in YouTube, when he said that it doesn't really matter what technology it is. It's all about customer service. All about how you're going to satisfy what your customer wants. That's it. As
Yeah.
simple,
What would you
right?
ask him?
What I will ask him, that's a good question, is how did he maintain and how did he come up with that
Hmm.
mantra?
Hmm.
Uh, how is he living it until now? I hope, even though he's already a multi-billionaire person.
And yeah, I don't think he manages or like a CEO anymore. I think he's maybe in the board of directors. I think there's another CEO, right? Yeah.
I remember, yeah, but I'm sure in his heart he's still customer centric. If ever he's been like that for years, right?
Yeah, yeah. Amazing. All right, so now we're at our final question. I like asking these questions. You're the third person who have asked this question in the
Yeah.
podcast. How would you like to be remembered?
Oh, I think it clearly shows in the motto or slogan of Code City. I always want to be remembered as a servant leader. That I made sure that it's my people first before me
Wow,
in everything.
amazing. Amazing. And I think you really, really show that in the years of Code Sydney, like in the I have worked with you, I can really see how humble you are. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that you've been in a company for 20 years, you've been head of a lot of people. And that is amazing. I'm very humbled to know more about you. I am really regret we did this. I hope we can have more discussions like this. Doesn't have to be a podcast, but I have a lot of years to learn from you. And yeah, would
Yeah,
love to extract more from you.
anytime. Yeah, it's not just a podcast. It's just what I said. Working with you in a very long term because I've seen already that you can deliver.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for being here again. I really, really appreciate it. Do you have any last words for our audience? Where can they find you? LinkedIn, Twitter, or anywhere?
Yeah, they can actually go to our website www.code.sydney, and from there you can actually reach out to me. There's like a booking link as well in there. Of course, in Facebook, I'm with Data Engineering Filipinas as one of the moderators. So yeah, they can also find me there.
Amazing.
Thanks.
This has been heartwarming. Thank you so much. All right, then. Thank you. Goodbye.